So if you follow my channel, you'll know that I've got a love for American heritage boots, especially Red Wings, and I thought it was probably about time to think about the best Moc Toe boot offered. Now, the Moc Toe boot will invariably bring you to Red Wing. The first question I had is, who makes those boots? And it was Red Wing. And the model that you'll probably come to first of all is the 875s or 0875s right here. Now, we'll get onto the sole in a minute because that's not their original sole, but after you've found that model, you'll invariably find the 1907s. Now, between these two boots, I think we have the classic, the best Moc Toe boot on offer. But which one? So the first question you'll be asking yourself is, which one should I buy? The 875s or the slightly more costly 1907s? And whichever way you pick initially, the next question you'll be asking is, did I pick the right boot? After that, you'll probably find that you do buy the alternative pair. But I thought it would be an opportunity to reflect on both these boots because I've given them a lot of wear over the years. These are the point of needing resoles, and these are now well broken in. I've been wearing them quite heavily over a couple of months now. So I thought we'd get into the detail. We'll look at what separates these boots, what sets them apart from each other, and I'll tell you what I think is the better boot out of these two models. So just before we get into it, it's worth confronting the elephant in the room. The soles on these, well, these were resoled probably about 18 months ago. Vibram lug. I did find the Christie soles wore quite quickly, but that is also the beauty of them. The Vibram lug is a much harder wearing, lighter, more flexible sole with more inherent grip due to that design. Of course, with that grip comes the ability to pick up stones and debris, and if you've got wooden flooring, you might regret that, treading in stones and scraping your floor, but that is worthy of an honourable mention. Would I resole them again in this particular sort of sole? Well, I do like the aesthetic look of the Christie, but the Vibram is certainly a great sole to have. Certainly this received some favourable comments when I did a review or an update showing these soles being replaced. But yeah, so not a perfect side-by-side comparison, but I think we can probably work around that, and maybe we'll get some photos in so you can see what they look like with the original Christie sole. But yeah, the Vibram sole is a good way to go, and certainly makes for a more rugged outdoor boot in my opinion. Okay, so what we'll do is we'll come in for some close-ups. We'll go through boots side by side, look at the differences, look at the similarities, look at what makes them unique, and then I'll tell you what I think is the better Moc Toe boot, the ultimate Moc Toe boot. So we're in for some close-ups now. We've got both boots here, obviously the 1907s on the right here, and the 875s or 0875s on the left. So if we work through these boots, we can work out what's similar, what's different, and what I've found and learned about those similarities and differences. So the first thing to reflect on is the actual last, the shape and design of the boot and how it's supposed to fit your foot. Now the 875s here, that is on the historic 23 last. That's based on sort of a real heritage last from the Red Wing archives, and that's been used since 1930. Designed to be roomy up the front, runs half a size big, although to be perfectly honest, that is not something I've found. I always say Red Wings are true to size, and any variation in that I'd say you can make up for in a thick sock. I prefer to have a little bit more room on the shoe and fill that with a sock rather than having a shoe which is really hard work. So the 23 is what I would say was true to size. It's certainly not particularly wide, It does take quite some breaking in to make these truly comfortable. On the other side, you've got the 1907s. They're in a more modern last. This is the 45 last, and actually even they're barely broken in. You can see that they're a wider, larger toe box or vamp, and that really does make for a lot of comfort there. So the 45 last, as I say, was designed in 2005. It's designed to accommodate a footbed, so an insole basically, and with that it brings a higher build here. Again, if we compare that side by side, you can see that's notably more built up, and that is critical to comfort, in my opinion. Certainly when you've got a very, very tough leather, like you do on all the Red Wing boots, a leather which takes real breaking in, to have that extra bit of depth, extra bit of width, really does make for a quicker, more comfortable breaking, because you don't need to get it to yield as much. And as the creases form where your foot bends, with the 875s, I really felt some significant pinching on my inner and outer toes, my little toe and my big toe, as those creases formed. The 1907s, much easier breaking, and it's all down to this last. So that's a massive, massive thumbs up for this particular model for me. The leather, well, they're both oil tanned leather, and in their original states they were sort of a pull-up leather, I described, so you can see a lightening of the leather as you put pressure on it and the oils move around. This is the Oro Legacy, so a heritage leather, and the 1907s, a copper rough and tough. Now, I really like the way the rough and tough's looking at the moment. I haven't treated this, and I'm not going to for as long as I can possibly hold off, because every leather that I've ever treated tends to darken. I really do like this sort of lighter tan colouring. So, leathers, well, they will darken with time, depends how you care for them, but they're both equally bomb-proof, super robust leathers. Next thing to look at is the welt. So how is the sole attached? So whilst the soles have changed, obviously Christie to Vibram Lug, they are both attached with a welt, so they're recraftable, rebuildable. The difference between them is this is a simple Goodyear welt, so a single stitched piece on the bottom there, and this, the 1907s, are a more built construction. This is some would call this a triple welt or a Norwegian welt, and the difference really is this effectively a bumper, spoiler, extra ridge of leather, and that really is simply to deflect water as far as possible, stop the water pooling at the bottom of the leather upper, and just give you that extra bit of waterproofing. Does it work? It's a small feature. I'm not honestly sure if it works. I find it hard to compare, but it does look really, really nice. It looks like a much more heavily constructed, heavily crafted boot. Also in the sole construction here, you've got this extra little brown midsole, this hard rubber section here, and that just adds to the sort of built up sort of feel, the look. I really, really like it. So the soles on these are absolutely superb, really nice construction, and both of them have that rebuildable welt, which is incredibly important. Moving up the boot and into the boot, the 875s have a traditional leather footbed. Beyond that is a sort of cork midsole, so between the two of them they shape to your foot over time. Very comfortable, not much padding, but they do mould to your foot, which is a delight really. Now on the 1907s, they've still got the same construction, but on top of that, well, you can see it in there, they've got a insole with a rubber back, so a fairly thick leather insole, and then with a sort of a simple sort of foam rubber back, but that really does add to the comfort, and I think a nice little extra feature. One thing I found with the blacksmiths who've got a sort of very thin Vibram sole is that you get quite a lot of cold transfer. You don't get that with the Christie so much so, but I do wish Red Wing would put these in a few more of their boots because it really adds to comfort, and for some of it really help with cold transfer. Moving up the boot, well, the construction, absolutely bomb-proof on both boots, so thick white stitching on the Moc Toe, triple stitch on the vamp there, and on the heel cap you've got a double stitch, nice highlighting with a white stitch as well as the black, and yeah, absolutely bomb-proof. Never seen a dropped thread or a loose thread with any of these boots at all, but the stitching to my eye, whilst these are clearly a little bit more weathered, equally good, absolutely fantastic quality, and absolutely bomb-proof. So the stitching's great, the construction's great, the leather's great. These boots really are built for, if not life, for certainly a very long period of use. Certainly worth resoling. These will be resold again at some point. Undoubtedly these will be resold as that Christie wears down. Moving up a little bit, obviously you've got different laces. So the 875s come with this leather lace as standard, and the 1907s come with the leather lace as standard, and the 875s are with this very iconic two-tone lace. Actually incredibly hard wearing. This is still the original lace. This is probably seen, well, by now probably best part of sort of 3 years solid wear cumulatively, and yeah, super tough lace. Nothing to fault there. I do like the leather lace, and actually I think this helps with day-to-day comfort because the leather has that little bit more yield in it, and it does seem to just make for a little bit more of a comfortable boot. Looks great as well. Mixes it up, makes it a little bit different to the 875s and that normal look, and yeah, really nice bit of lacing. The eyelets, nickel on the 875s. On the 1907s, they're sort of gunmetal, grey, almost blued gunmetal, with Red Wing embossed around them. Just a nice little bit of attention to detail. Looks really good, but either way, both perfectly serviceable, perfectly tough. Now, one thing that I would say, if you haven't noticed before, is on the inside of the tongues, you do find out a sort of born date of birth for your boots. So on these you've got 0518, so these are pretty new by the time they got into my hands, so only a couple of months old, and these are 1014, so just something of interest, just on the inside of the tongues, something to look at, a bit of trivia for you. Okay, well, I think that's probably about it for the details, the differences. As I say, much easier breaking on these, but with any Red Wing boot I'd say go little and often. So don't go out for a massive hike, do take them out for, or wear them around the house, wear them around the office, just let them get used to your feet, let your feet get used to the boots, and don't lose a toe to it, because with these I thought I was going to tough it out. I thought I'd just take a massive walk, go out for miles, and the blisters on my feet were absolutely appalling. So do respect these boots and do let them break in, because once you've got them right, they'll be so comfortable, but don't suffer on the way. Just on the sole before we move on, very, very soft compound, wears down really quick, but nice overall support, very comfortable. Not that much flex, because it is a solid piece, so you don't have the heel cut out there. It doesn't have a shank, it doesn't need it, but yeah, just bear in mind that these will wear out pretty quick, but they are worth resoling time and time again. Okay, so let's find out which is my preferred boot, if you can't already guess. So we've spent some time looking at the detail of these boots, got into some close-ups, and now you've probably come to your own conclusions for yourselves, but for me, I'll share with you what I think is the better boot, what I would say you should buy if you're only going to buy one pair of Red Wing Moc Toes. I would say, in all honesty, having owned both pairs now, and I have loved the 875s, or 0875s rather, but in all honesty, I really do think, for me, the 1907s are a better boot. They've just got that little something extra going on. The more detailing, I do like a bit of detail in the boots. I like to see those details popping out. And these are just a little bit more aesthetically pleasing. The soles with this extra dark brown midsole section, the triple welt, Norwegian welt, whether it's got any practical functional benefits or not, it just looks really built up and really aesthetically very pleasing. Equally, the leather's very nice. I don't know how that'll age. We'll see how that goes, but the eyelets, gunmetal, little bit of Red Wing branding around them, really, really nice. And of course, the insole really helps out with comfort day to day as well. On break-in and day-to-day wear, the 45 last with the increased height here really makes for easier wear, certainly easier break-in, and that's almost unique to this particular pair of boots. This came in 2005, whereas the other last was a 1930s design. So this has really got the all-round comfort, design cues, styling. It just does it that little bit more for me. I really think that this is the better boot. Is it worth the extra $20 or $30 or £20 that separates these boots? I'd say absolutely yes. I think this was always a boot I wondered about. It's more unusual to find, it's more uncommon on the street. It's certainly worth that extra money. I think it's a really nicely built boot. Okay, well that brings us to the end of the video. You know my thoughts. Let me know if you agree. If you've had both pair of boots, which ones do you think are better? If you're looking to buy some Moc Toes in this classic heritage style, tell me what's going through your mind, what you're going to pick, and yeah, I hope that's useful. Okay, well, if you like this video, give it a thumbs up. Of course, I'd like it if you subscribe to my channel if you haven't already. Boot reviews, denim, very much the backbone of the channel. You'll also find content on everyday carry, fountain pens, pen knives, that sort of stuff. Cycling, guitar, all my interests I like to share here. I like to have that conversation with my viewer. You tell me what I think or what you think, and I'll learn from that. Yeah, so I hope that's helpful, and I'll see you for the next video. Okay, thank you very much. Bye bye.